We should have maybe made notes before we started doing this.
Hi.
Ages ago, we decided we were going to talk about Telly on the radio, and it didn't happen, and then we decided to talk about Hemlock Grove, and it's one of the most popular things on my YouTube channel, so...
Is it?
It is, yeah. That and our
Right.
Doctor Who tag. Clearly the people just want you. We're going to chat about Game of Thrones, because Game of Thrones finished, now we can talk about it, and it be spoiler-free, because everyone will have seen it by now.
We hope.
If you haven't seen it, this is probably going to contain lots of spoilers, so soz in
screw
advance.
you. Game of Thrones, so it was first sold to me as kind of Lord of the Rings,
Without the elves.
without the elves and stuff, but it's actually nothing like Lord of the Rings. It's kind of like, I don't even know if it's set on this planet. Is it? It's not set on Earth, is it?
Are you saying everyone in Game of Thrones is an alien?
Well, I guess it is kind of an alternate universe of Earth, isn't it? All these different families and people all fighting to be on the Iron Throne and rule the Seven Kingdoms.
Basically, there are 7 kingdoms and a really uncomfortable chair, and if you sit in the uncomfortable chair, you rule the 7 kingdoms. And
I mean,
it's kind of like the royal family keeps changing because they keep killing each other off and then taking over.
Yeah.
So when the series starts, there has recently been like an uprising in which the Targaryens, who were the royal family, were all wiped out by Robert Baratheon, who caused like a coup of sorts.
Wow, you've been watching it back, haven't you?
I've read the books.
Oh.
And so he is then king, and then he marries into the Lannisters, who want the throne, and then all sorts of hell breaks loose because then the Starks find out secrets about the Baratheons, and the Lannisters start killing off the Starks, and then various other people are involved in trying to take down either the Lannisters or the Starks, and it's just like, whoa.
I've got a really bad memory. I can't even remember what happened in the episode on Monday, but like...
Are you not bereft? I'm bereft. Marjorie is gone.
Oh, no. Oh, we were talking about this on Facebook.
I love Natalie Dormer. I love her face.
Yeah, I've got a little bit of a crush on her.
Same.
Probably my favourite of the female characters from Game of Thrones.
Really? Who is your favourite character overall, like, regardless of gender?
Most people are going to go for Tyrion, aren't they?
Mine's Sir Davos.
Would it be completely wrong to say Ramsay Bolton?
No, because Ramsay Bolton, as much as he's a dick, Ramsay Bolton is a dick.
He is a dick, yeah.
He's one of the greatest, most interesting characters to watch.
He's just one of the best villains. Joffrey aside, Joffrey was pretty bad, and I think a lot of people would argue that Joffrey was worse than Ramsay Bolton.
Was he though?
But
I don't remember Joffrey flaying people.
No.
Joffrey was mainly like throwing tantrums and having people's heads cut off.
Yeah, and I don't think he would have killed his baby brother and fed him to dogs.
No. God, Ramsay was a bit of a prick, wasn't he?
He was a bit of an asshole. Yeah, I might have to come back to you on that one.
Okay.
On my favourite character.
So Robert Baratheon had the Iron Throne to begin with in Series 1. Ned Stark found out that his wife was having an affair with her own twin brother, and all of his children were in fact not his children, but her twin brother's children. So they had Ned Stark murdered. Robert Baratheon then dies mysteriously, so his son Joffrey, who's not actually his son, but is actually the son of Cersei and Jaime Lannister, they're twins.
Yeah.
He then has the Iron Throne. And he's murdered at his wedding, and then his little brother stepped in and took over the crown.
Yeah.
And married his older brother's wife, who's significantly older than him. It's a little bit creepy.
Yeah.
And then Tommen decided to jump out of a window. So now his mum, Cersei, is on the Iron Throne.
Killed off one king in every series.
Really?
Yeah. That doesn't bode well for Jon Snow, actually.
No, it doesn't. Poor Jon Snow. The thing that Game of Thrones does really well, though, weddings. Chris is getting married soon, but it's not going to be anything like the Red or Purple wedding, hopefully. The Red wedding was Robb Stark's wedding, where Walder Frey turned his back on him and murdered him.
That comes a very close second to one of the best episodes, because how many TV shows have got the guts to kill off 6 principal characters all in one scene?
I know, right? The thing with Game of Thrones is you can't get attached to any character because you know they're likely to die.
Some of the characters, you just don't see it coming. Like Joffrey.
Yeah.
I thought Joffrey was going to make it all the way through. I had no idea that he was going.
No, but
Marjorie
also like
as well.
yeah, Marjorie. I didn't think she was going to go.
Because it doesn't build towards it or anything. There's no kind of like, there's no clues it's going to happen. Like especially with Marjorie's death, because I was thinking, oh, maybe she survives. You know, is she going to survive? But they don't. They kind of do it in a way that like it just comes out of nowhere. She's been through all of this.
And then that's it.
Yeah, and her brother Loris has been through all of this just about to resolve the whole thing, maybe.
Yeah.
And then they die.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. But that, I guess, that's life, though, isn't it? I suppose.
An intense kind of backstory over like the Iron Throne and who belonged there and what happened to like the Targaryens and stuff. One remaining Targaryen is Daenerys. She's on her way to Westeros, saving people and raising dragons and marrying horse lords, you know, the usual. So she's trying to get back to reclaim the throne with the help of Tyrion, who's a Lannister, but none of the other Lannisters like him.
Yeah. And
she's been joined by Lily Allen's brother.
Yeah.
Who's going to try and help her because he wants his sister to reclaim the Iron Islands, which is where he's from, because their evil uncles turned up and murdered their dad and taken the throne.
Yeah, yeah. But what's happened to him?
He's allegedly was going to go marry Daenerys, but we haven't seen him since.
No, he's...
Much like Gendry, he's just like rowing along, trying to get to his destination.
Yeah, and what's his chops? He's looking for the cure for his...
Yeah. What's his name? Jorah? I don't know his name. He's the blonde guy that fancies Daenerys. He's got really bad psoriasis and he needs to go find a cure.
yeah. Is he? I wonder if he's going to get a spin-off series.
I hope so.
That'd be great.
Do you know what would be really good? If they did a kind of mash-up with the Fantastic Four and he just becomes the Thing.
That'd be amazing.
Lannisters.
Oh, where do you start with the Lannisters? That's one messed up family.
Very dysfunctional.
Yeah.
There's Tywin.
He was a pretty switched on guy.
Well, for someone who didn't know that his twins were getting it on together.
Yeah. Did he ever actually find that out?
I think Cersei told him just before Tyrion killed him with a crossbow.
Oh, yeah. Cersei and Jaime, brother and sister, but they're...
Twincest.
Twincest. Yeah. And have had 2 children.
3. You forgot Marcella.
Marcella?
So did the
the
writers,
daughter.
Though. They also have a little brother called Tyrion, who is like... He has dwarfism.
They've done that really well as well. They make a lot of reference to the fact that he's a dwarf, but it's not a massive part of the story, if you know what I mean.
Also, Tyrion is like the smartest person in the entire show.
Yeah, he drinks and he knows things.
A Tyrion theory.
A theory.
Because you know how my Jon Snow theory turned out to be right? He was never Ned Stark's son, but he was the son of Lyanna Stark and Rhaegar Targaryen. I have this weird theory about Tyrion.
Well, yeah, because also if you go back a few episodes, there was the scene where he talked to the dragons.
Yeah. I think that the reason why Tywin Lannister's wife died giving birth to Tyrion was actually because he had her killed when he realised Tyrion wasn't his son. I think Tyrion isn't really a Lannister, I think he's a Targaryen.
Yeah, well, I think...
And, because they talk about the 3-headed dragon, I think the 3 heads of the dragon are Jon Snow, Daenerys and Tyrion. The Targaryens might be my favourite family, apart from the Starks. What about the Tyrells? We miss you, Marjorie.
I'm upset, I'm disappointed, because...
What disappointed you more, the outcome of the EU referendum or losing Marjorie Tyrell?
Oh, don't get me started. Right, okay, so
Starks, Ned, who was Sean Bean, so obviously he weren't going to last very long, was he?
But if you go back to the beginning, the first real thing that happened to the Starks was Brandon being pushed out the window by Jaime Lannister. Now spent the rest of the show being basically a paraplegic.
But paraplegic with superpowers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Robb Stark, who was everyone's true King of the North.
Yeah.
He was also very attractive, and I was quite sad to see him go. So there's Jon, who is the Lord Commander of the Night's Watch, also all-round badass.
Yeah, totally. Not
awesome
very bright.
hair, not very bright, he doesn't know a lot. Sansa.
Yeah,
Sansa Stark, also a bit of a badass.
And an X-Man.
And an X-Men, yeah. For a minute there I was like, when was she a man? Arya, There's also Rickon, who needs to learn how to zigzag.
Oh man, well, there's
no point now,
There's
Rickon.
no learning now. You know, you paid the price for that one.
Sansa was promised to Joffrey. Sansa got married off to his uncle Tyrion, who was actually well nice to her. He's probably the only man who's ever been nice to her. And then Littlefinger, who has a massive crush on her dead mum, decided to sell her to Ramsay Bolton.
Yeah.
Who was a dick to her.
Yeah. So Littlefinger has got the hots for Sansa.
Because he's a creep.
But he can't figure out what his accent is. One minute he's Irish, and the next minute he's I don't know what he is.
He's a Scouser, isn't he? Is he a Scouser?
I don't know. I can't figure out what is going on with his accent.
We should mention Theon while we're on the Starks. And then Ramsay turned up and made his life a living hell.
Yeah. And cut his bits and pieces off.
And then ate a sausage in front of him. That's like the best, that's my favourite Game of Thrones moment, is Ramsay Bolton holding a sausage going...
Yeah.
He and his sister have now gone to find Daenerys to get her to come back, so she'll give them the Iron Islands and she can take Westeros. I want her to get it on with Daenerys, because I do.
Yeah.
Bisexuals for the win.
Yeah.
Daenerys has got her binoculars out.
Yeah. Awesome binoculars.
Yeah. I always say I haven't got very good gaydar, but my binoculars are spot on. Yes. Daenerys and Yara Greyjoy.
Yeah.
Whilst they're riding the waves.
Yeah.
Back to the Seven Kingdoms. With Varys, who can transport himself to places, apparently. Teleporting Varys.
Yeah, I noticed that straight away, and I had a big well, not a big discussion, but I had a discussion with my fiance about it.
He was in Dawn, right?
Yeah.
With the Martells. Brilliant family. Miss Oberon a bit.
Yeah, yeah. But then, literally, next scene, he was on the boat.
Do you know who else is a really good character? This might be my second favourite character, Bronn.
Bronn. Who's Bronn? I've forgotten who Bronn is.
Jerome with Robson and Jerome.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, man, how can you forget that guy? Like, that was weird. He just kind of turned up again in this series. It's like, where have you been?
Bronn of the Blackwater.
Yeah, it's like, oh, yeah, I remember you exist.
Yeah, Bronn's great. And Brienne of Tarth.
Yeah.
I'm still annoyed that her character in Star Wars wasn't called Phantasma of Darth.
Why?
Because Darth Vader would have made a brilliant pun for her being Brienne of Tarth in Game of Thrones.
You've sat down and thought about this, haven't you?
Yes, because I want to make as many crossovers as possible. Adam Driver needs to turn up in Game of Thrones and just be like, guys, I can help you sort this out. I love my granddad, killed my dad, I'm in on this.
I think Jaime Lannister's got the hots for her. I'm not doing that for any particular reason.
Tormund the Wildling with his big ginger beard, he wants to get in there.
Yeah. It's just that meme. It's kind of...
Lyanna Mormont, the little 10-year-old that told it how it is.
Yeah,
she's great.
Yeah.
You like her. Frey's.
Mm-hmm.
Good old Walder Frey. He ate his own sons baked in a pie by Arya. He's clearly been watching Sweeney Todd a little bit too much.
But we haven't talked about the Red Witch. So, but she's basically been exiled.
Because she killed Shireen.
Actually,
I've got a thing about this, because back last season, Sansa was quite nastily, there's not a nice way to rape someone, but it was quite nasty.
Yeah, violated.
It was horrible what Ramsay did to her. And everyone was up in arms about it, understandably, because it's not, there was absolutely no reason to show that scene, but they did. But the next episode, a 9-year-old girl was burned at the stake and no one said a thing. And I was like, I'm actually more traumatised watching her scream for her parents whilst they watched than I was about Sansa. Even though that was horrible and obviously it's very triggering for people that have gone through it.
Yeah, we don't condone that.
No, not at all. It was not necessary. And I think it was gratuitous. It was no need for them to have even shown the scene. We all knew what Ramsay was going to do to her. We didn't need to see it. But the thing with Shireen, I actually thought was the way it was filmed and the fact that you saw the whole thing was way worse for me.
Yeah, no, that really kind of disturbed me. At that point, I was almost thinking, I don't know if Game of Thrones has kind of gone a bit too far.
Yeah, I think the thing is with Game of Thrones is that you see so much death and violence, because every episode features someone having their head cut off or being stabbed or whatever. But there's a kind of a line when it involves a 9-year-old girl being tied to a tree and being set on fire. Really, isn't it?
And I kind of thought, where else are you going to go? How much further can you push the limits and stuff?
Yeah.
So that disturbed me. I mean, don't get me wrong, I was really disturbed by the previous episode.
I was really, like, everything Ramsay did was entertaining on a disturbing level.
Yeah.
Because I enjoyed hating him, but, like, watching him torture Theon and then watching him do whatever to Sansa is not a nice thing to have to watch.
No.
But yeah, I was more, like, I actually, after watching the episode with Shireen, I actually felt, like, physically sick.
Yeah.
Whereas when I watched what happened to Sansa, yeah, it was horrible and it was traumatising and it was disturbing, but, like, I was still able to switch it off and be like, that's a TV show.
Yeah,
and I'm done with it now, and I can go and do something else. But when I saw them, like, burning a 9-year-old, I was a bit like that stayed with me for a little while.
Yeah, and I think, and I guess it is a testament to the show that it was, because it was so well done. Because when you look at, like, a lot of factors within that scene of, like, you know, they do things in such a way that you think, they're not actually going to go through with this. It's not actually going to happen. You know, someone's going to come along and save that little girl in a minute.
Yeah.
Because that's what we're all so used to with, like, you know, Hollywood
like,
shows.
Hero's going to come along and, like, save the day, but yeah.
Yeah. And
which kind of brings in the idea of religion within the show, because you've got the old gods and the new gods, and then you've got the red light of the red, or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
And then you've got, like, the High Sparrow and the Seven.
Yeah.
And it's, like, the different ways that religion is portrayed, because the whole, like, may the gods be with you, the old and the new, is kind of, like, a thing that everyone says and respects. But then when you've got, like, the red ladies, everyone's a little bit sceptical of them, and then they go around burning 9-year-olds and bringing people back from the dead. So it's a bit like, whoa. And then with the High Sparrow, like, because we live in a modern age where being gay obviously isn't a problem.
Yeah.
For us to see them treat Loris that way was a bit off, but also, like, the way in which they humiliated Cersei. Yes, she's a bitch, but did she really deserve that?
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Like, it's kind of like, in a way, it's like a weird kind of take on extremists in real life, I guess.
That's what Game of Thrones does so well. It's like this fantasy world, but they do things in such, they use reality so well in that show.
That got a bit deep for a minute there, didn't it?
It did, didn't it?
We didn't talk about the Baratheons when we did our big list of families. When Robert died, they knew that Joffrey wasn't his son, so both Stannis and Renly wanted the throne. So Stannis hired a witch to create a shadow baby that went and stabbed Renly.
Yeah, that was weird.
That was a bit weird, wasn't it? They actually got it on, and then she gave birth to a shadow man.
Instantly, straight away.
Yeah, like, literally, like, 5 minutes later. And you've got Sir Davos, who is my favourite character for the one reason that he is the only person that, like, sits there and just goes, WTF? At everything.
Yeah.
So while you're watching it at home being like, what on earth is going on? You've got Sir Davos sat there going like, what?
I don't know.
That sums up Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Do you ever, when you're doing mundane tasks, sing the theme tune to yourself to make it more epic?
No, I don't.
I do when I'm washing up. I'm like, nah, 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 nah. You know Grey Worm?
Yes. I had to think a minute.
He's also a pop star that goes by the name of Rayleigh Ritchie, and I saw him perform last summer. And he's from Bristol.
Is he?
He is. We live near Bristol.
We do.
You live nearer Bristol than I do.
Yeah.
Also, second claim to fame, my parents live opposite the school that Maisie Williams went to.
Yeah, Maisie Williams is from probably literally around the corner from... Where's she from? She's
Clutton.
Clutton. Yeah, so she's about 10 minutes up the road. There's a whole separate adventure with Brandon Stark and Hodor.
Hodor! Oh my god! Every time someone says hold the door now, like, my heart breaks a little bit. Isn't it cool that, like, Bran is, like, in the past, but he can obviously interact with people, which must mean, theory time, right? Mad King.
Yeah.
He went mad because he could hear voices. What if the voices he could hear was actually Bran hanging out in King's Landing.
Yeah, because he
From the past or the future, wherever
he's, he's the reason for Hodor being called Hodor,
Yeah.
isn't he? Because he kept saying, hold the door, hold the door.
Yeah. Oh, White Walkers. We've talked about this for like 40 minutes and not mentioned the zombies that live there.
But first series, for instance, you saw them for about 5 seconds at the beginning of the first episode, and then they weren't in it for the rest of the series.
No.
And
We just kept being told about them. They were like, that's why the wall's there.
Yeah,
Because of the White Walkers.
and they've been in it sporadically throughout every series, but for only like tiny bits at a time. I mean, Sam Tarly, yeah, he's killed a White Walker.
Do you think the White Walkers are going to be like the big thing next series?
Well,
Because we've kind of been building up that winter is coming. Winter still isn't here, like 7 years later.
and I think Daenerys and Jon Snow aren't going to get it on, but they are going to join forces.
Mm-hmm.
And I think not the next series, but the final series is just going to be a full-on battle throughout the whole series. It's just going to be a massive war between the White Walkers and Daenerys' army.
And Sir Davos will sit on the Iron Throne.
That's kind of Game of Thrones in a nutshell.
Yeah.
In a very big nutshell.